Time is 11:05 a.m. Good morning. The news headline. Be prepared. Here are two things that may happen if Buhari declares Fulani herdsmen as terrorists. News in full. There is no tribe or ethnicity in the world that does not have criminals amongst them. As a result, labeling Yorubas, Igbos, Hausas, or Fulani terrorists is not justified, simply because some miscreants among them are also criminals. For a long time, Nigeria's northern states have been fighting terrorism in Kaduna, Plateau, Borno, and Zamfara. All have been caught in the center of it all. Aside from Boko Haram, the Fulani herdsmen have been identified as a group responsible for a number of attacks in these northern states, but the government has not designated them as a terrorist organization. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, or URIWA, recently petitioned President Buhari to declare armed Fulani members who have terrorized many sections of the country as a terrorist organization. And this is what URIWA asked Buhari to do to Fulani herdsmen. The group released this statement on Monday, according to Daily Post, where they applauded the administration for deploying military forces to combat and hunt down terrorists operating in the country's northern regions. However, they recently petitioned President Muhammadu Buhari to declare armed herders who have terrorized many sections of the country a terrorist organizations, especially the northern states that have been the center of all, states like Kaduna, Plateau, Borno, Zamfara. All of these states have been at the center of it all, and it is not justified because these people are not just miscreants, but are criminals who are putting a whole lot of spades of attacks on these northern states amidst all other states in Nigeria. The recent attack on the forward operating base in Zamfara state, according to Uriwa, is just another reason why the federal government should listen to them and declare armed Fulani herders and bandits terrorists, so that the required countermeasures can be taken against them as terrorists. This is the finest approach to handle this crisis. The president should label the group terrorists without hesitation. The attack on Zamfara operating base resulted in the death of 9 Air Force members, 2 police officers, and a military soldier. They continued, noting as well too that just of recent, the NDA, which happens to be one of the most tight security base at Kaduna State, Nigerian Defense Academy, was invaded by unknown gunmen who people are still trying to identify with the Fulani herdsmen and also bandits, that they might have been those who are involved in perpetrating this evil act, where they killed some high-ranked officers and kidnapped 2 majors in the process. And Lai Mohammed has said that why Nigeria cannot declare Fulani herdsmen as terrorists, despite being responsible for hundreds of deaths and property destruction. Nigeria's Minister of Information stated on Wednesday that roving Fulani herdsmen were not designated as terrorists because their activities were criminal rather than terror-related. The criticism of Nigeria's categorization of the indigenous people of Biafra as a terrorist group was erroneous, according to Lai Mohammed, who noted that the separatist group and dangerous herdsmen have different purposes. Despite being ranked in the world's 4th deadliest group in 2014 Global Terrorism Index, Muhammad Lai argued that the herdsmen acts of lawlessness should not be mistaken with terrorism acts. However, John Nwodo, President General of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, who was interviewed earlier on the show, argued that labeling IPOB as a terrorist organization was very unfair and imbalanced. Nwodo said that Fulani herders, not IPOB, deserve to be labeled terrorists. We have Fulani herdsmen in Nigeria. That kind of organization that has wrecked farmlands in Nigeria, killed quite a lot of people, raped them, maimed them, and kidnapped a lot for ransom, has not been labeled as a terrorist organization. He added that terrorism tracking organization have put them as the 3rd or 4th worst terrorist organization, and yet Nigeria is still holding back to label them as a terrorist organization. Post-pastoral conflicts were the deadliest threat faced in Nigeria since 2016, according to SB Morgan Intelligence Report on Security in the country in 2016. Cattle rustlers and Fulani herdsmen were responsible for 470 and 1,425 deaths, respectively. Cattle rustlers were responsible for 7% of the attack, while Fulani herdsmen were responsible for 29%. Each livestock rustling incident, on the other hand, averaged 39 victims, whilst Fulani herdsmen attacks averaged 30. Farmers and people of assaulted areas were usually the targets and victims of cattle rustlers and Fulani herdsmen. The Middle Belt Movement for Justice and Peace (MBMJP) has then expressed concern that the cycle of killings perpetrated by armed herdsmen militia in Kaduna, Benue and other states of the Federation is widening because the federal government has failed to label the armed herders as terrorists as well. The Middle Belt Movement for Justice and Peace said that if the federal government wants to end the armed herdsmen instigated crisis in areas of the country, it should stop treating the situation with child gloves and take decisive measures to stop killings by labeling armed herdsmen terrorists right away. Comrade Joe Booker, the MBMJP's convener, spoke out over the weekend in response to a wave of violence and killings in portions of Kaduna State, urging the federal government to handle armed Fulani herdsmen the same way it treats the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. We are aware that not all Fulani herders are terrorists. Declaring the organization terrorist will have ramifications for people who are no innocent. Fulani herders in the north and other regions of the country may be terrified of moving around among people with cows. Beef prices may also rise as a result of this. The Fulani people, unlike terrorist group, have houses, villages, and even families. However, if they are designated as terrorist organization, the military will be given the authority to enter their residence and apprehend the perpetrators. This may seem like a nice concept, but it has certain drawbacks. And this is the news with analysis that these are the things that may happen if Buhari declare Fulani as terrorists, whereby Lai Mohammed was trying to justify that there is a difference between activities that are criminal rather than terror related, that there is an erroneous and misconception about the lawlessness, which should not be lawlessness by the herdmen, we should not be mistaken with terrorism acts, saying that if they should label these people as terrorist group, then a whole lot of people would actually be having phobia for people that are moving around with cows, and that it will instigate crisis in many areas of the north, and then beef prices, because they are herdsmen, in charge of cows and the likes like that. Beef prices may also rise as a result of this. Time is 11:13 a.m. Good morning. Thanks for listening.